What's up, everyone? Basil the White Dragon Masters here. Saturday night, once again, UFC 203 review. Alistair Overeem versus Stipe Miocic. Or Stipe Miocic versus Alistair Overeem. For those who know me, I don't have to give my introduction again, but for those that are joining in, Basil the White Dragon Masters, giving my professional UFC 203 opinion, post-fight analysis. As for those who don't know, I'm a martial artist. I live and breathe martial arts. I've been doing it since I was 6 years old. I'm also a fighter. I've been a fighter. I'm also an MMA coach and a traditional martial arts kickboxing and karate coach as well. Anyway, let's get into it, guys. As you may all know, I always cover the last three fights. And I'm going to cover the semi-co-main event, the co-main event, and then I'm going to cover the actual main event. So let's start off again. Let's get right into it. Let's start off with the semi-co-main event, which was more like a sideshow, something that the UFC likes to gamble, because they did that with Randy Couture several years ago with James Toney, I believe, some boxer, and this time it was a whole different story. This time, obviously, they have a WWE wrestler, or ex-WWE wrestler, or professional wrestler. Obviously, they're known as, fake fighting. It's not really real fighting, but obviously incredible athleticism those guys have, so we have to give respect to that. We had CM Punk versus Mickey Gall. From day one, from the very, very first day, when this entire charade was announced, I believe it was 2 years, well, not 2 years, but I think at least a year or over a year ago. When this entire thing was announced, I was completely against it. And I was against it not because it's unfair, not so much because it's unfair. Yes, that is, it's a very valid point that it's unfair. That somebody who has absolutely no experience when it comes to martial arts, when he has absolutely no experience in fighting, is coming on to the biggest podium in fighting, which is the UFC at this point. 0-0, and he's going to come and he's going to headline a card against somebody who is fairly new, young kid called Mickey Gall, who pounced on this opportunity himself. He's relatively, what I saw today, is relatively a good fighter. You can't really judge Mickey Gall too much because he's only had 2 fights in the UFC. But let's get into this CM Punk thing. First of all, guys, I got to be honest with you. The White Dragon, which is my name, I purchased this card solely, and I kid you not, solely because this guy CM Punk was in this card. That was it. I just wanted to see how this entire thing was going to play out. I already knew, in my professional opinion, what was going to happen. I already knew. It's not rocket science. I already knew that it was going to be a very unhappy night for him. But I just, it was exciting. It was something new. Honest to God, if this card was not, if CM Punk was not on this card, I may have passed on it, and I wouldn't have wasted $60 on it. Honestly, I'm being honest with you. That was the only eye-catching eye-catching thing in this entire card, because all the other fights didn't really matter as much to me. So let's get to it. CM Punk, obviously, pro wrestler, no experience, was, a lamb going in to get slaughtered. But let's talk about some of the bad things, some of the good points. The bad things were, obviously, like I mentioned, it's unfair. People bust their ass. People literally bust their ass to get into the UFC. I mean, they sacrifice a lot of training, a lot of, their bodies, longevity, seniority. There's a lot of things. It's a journey to get into the UFC. It's a journey to be a refined martial artist. Martial arts is not about fighting. It's about different things, but that's a whole different topic. You can't just get into the UFC. You can't. You can't just get into full contact fighting and expect a result. I mean, it's not like, basketball. It's not like, even though all of them require, in their respective fields, require the time and the effort, but it's not basketball. It's not baseball. It's not some, sport that doesn't involve contact. You know what I mean? This is full on fighting. This is as real as it can get. I mean, when it comes to getting hit. So, hopefully this is a wake-up call for all the WWE guys, as well as all the professional wrestlers. They can't just pounce from fake fighting into real fighting. They can't just pounce from scripted fighting into real fighting. Not saying that what they do is not legit. Of course, they fall on the mats, they get slammed, and they get injuries, but that's it. It's all choreographed. You train your body to learn how to fall. Great, good, but not great. This is real fighting. You can't just jump from here to here and expect to be victorious right away. It's a journey. And, CM Punk, the only thing I'm going to say is the guy's got balls. He's 36 years old. I give him respect to the extent that he came in like a man. He said he was going to fight. He said he did it. There was absolutely no excuse. He got injured earlier, but he came and he tried to fight and he tried to duke it out. The result was not a shock or surprise to me or anybody. He was going to get creamed, and he got creamed by Mickey Gall, who was literally, I bet, 8, 9, 10 years younger than the guy. I mean, we're talking a decade young. First of all, he's got youth on his side. He's got experience and athleticism on his side, which that CM Punk doesn't have. So I thought that was I was against it from the very get-go. Now, as for the fight itself, he came in, and to my surprise, I honestly feel that Mickey was very, very merciful. Because honest to God, if it was a guy like me or if it was some other fighter in the UFC, most guys would, I didn't expect this guy, most guys would put CM Punk to sleep just like that, especially if they came from a very strong striking background. They would just pow, hit him in the face. Because you got to remember, it's muscle memory. When you see CM Punk hitting the bag, and when you see him, you see a very, inexperienced guy. There's like I said, there's crispness, and then there's delayed motion. Doesn't mean you can't learn. There's no age and time for learning. But you can't just jump into the cage with lions. You need to train yourself to be somewhat close to being a wolf, at least. You can't just be a gazelle or a lamb walking in. That's how I swear to God, guys, I felt really, really bad for him. I did. As much as I applaud him, I give him my hand for coming into and stepping in, it's not for everyone. And he needs a long time, a lot of sparring sessions, a few, maybe if you want to go that route, it's better that you go the amateur route. Maybe do a couple of amateur fights. Maybe do 5 or 6 amateur fights before you get the shot to fight in the UFC. That would have been the smartest thing to do with a guy like you and your recognition and your fame. Anybody would sign you up. Besides the UFC, anybody would have got you in there, small organization, just to get your feet wet a little bit. But I felt bad for him. He was a 36-year-old guy. He seemed really humble. It was sad to see him get his ass kicked the way he did. And Mickey Gall wasn't no gimmick fighter. He was no slouch. This kid is good. He was good, man. He beat the shit out of him. It wasn't even a fight. I will say though, CM Punk did duke it out longer than people that I've seen that have never fought before. That's for sure. Usually people that have a 0-0 record, they're out within 15-20 seconds of the fight, maybe a good clip to the head. But this guy was duking it out. CM Punk took him down straight up. I thought it was going to be a KO, but it didn't happen. He took him down, and Mickey Gall took CM Punk down, and CM Punk tried to wrestle it out. He tried his best, and then finally, just Mickey kept pounding him like he did, and he hurt him, and then he sunk in a few chokes. Punk got out of one surprisingly, and then finally he choked him out. And thank God he did that, because I would have hated to see him, fall limp to punches with his head smashing on the mat while Mickey punched him, because that would have been very sad to see. He's still, one thing that worries me a little bit about Punk is that this is not a one-time thing for him. He said I'm going to be back. Now I don't know if he was trying to somehow motivate himself mentally, but I think he should get out of the UFC and fight somewhere, if that's the route he wants to take. Frankly, I don't think he should fight, but if he does want to take that route, my advice as a professional coach, as a professional fighter, is to fight in smaller organizations at least 4 or 5 times before you can ever come back to into the UFC. Honestly, but yeah, Mickey Gall beat CM Punk TKO. It was very, very quick, just as expected, and hopefully CM Punk will learn from this, and hopefully he's smart. He takes a smarter route. Because what are they going to do with him? Where are they going to put him? who's next to fight? Everybody he's going to be fighting is an experienced fighter. Who are they going to put him against? That's my thing. And it'll be nice to see Mickey Gall fight Sage Northcutt. That'll be very interesting because those guys are around the same age range, and both are athletic, and it'll be fireworks. That'll be great. Moving on, guys. So from the semi-co-main event to the co-main event. The co-main event, surprisingly, from this entire card, was the most exciting one. Even though in my mind I thought it was going to be bullshit, because it was Travis Browne, who honestly, he was really great in the beginning of his career when he came out, and he really put a stamp on his career when he KO'd, or when he finished Overeem with the front kick and then he went down. So Travis Browne did great. Obviously he fell in love with somebody like Ronda Rousey, and then he moved from a great camp to a shitty camp. He moved to a boxer's camp. People don't realize that the camp that Ronda Rousey fights from, or the fight camp that she is at, she trains only boxing there. But she has her own judo and grappling thing that she does. I think Travis Browne, because he fell in love with her, he moved to that shitty camp and all he does is boxing. Which was a little bit surprising to me that he lost constantly. Like I think he won one fight after that, but he lost. Obviously that's not a good move. But anyway, I'm not going to judge him. He came in and he fought Fabricio Verdum for the second time. I thought that this fight was going to be over within minutes, like first round, because obviously heavyweights, one shot from these big boys, whether you're from 170 up, are big guys. One shot from either one of these guys, 170, 185, 205, heavyweight, most people, you're going to sleep and it's over. But this fight went on, and first round, Fabricio is so fucking creative, man. For a jiu-jitsu guy, I was very impressed with him. I mean, he's been doing a lot of fancy stand-up techniques. This time he did something that I've frankly never seen in the UFC. I've seen it in MMA, but I've never seen it in the UFC, where a heavyweight runs and does the jumping flying sidekick, the Bruce Lee one. The one where he comes in. I mean, I don't have a lot of room, guys, but he comes in and he goes, pow, I wish I had more room. I would have shown it to you properly. But that kick actually connected, and it pushed Travis Browne far, and I was like, wow, this is a heavyweight doing this, and it's very creative. It was very, and it's a jiu-jitsu guy on top of that. So, if you see a guy like Krokop do it, you'd be like, okay, cool. But if you see, or Machida or something like that, but you see a jiu-jitsu guy do it, it's a little bit, you gotta, it's very, you gotta give him applaud for that. So, so he did that, and I thought this fight was going to be over soon because he heard Travis Browne quite a bit. It became a back and forth thing. The first round, clearly Fabricio whooped his ass, all of it. Some unusual thing happened in the first round. Fabricio gave him an overhand right. Browne tried to block it, but what happened is he may have done something like this, or I don't know, but the overhand right landed on his finger. And I wasn't even sure if this is even legal because really I haven't seen it before. So he dislocated his finger. Fabricio Verdum literally just dislocated Travis Browne's finger. And he wasn't the same. I mean, he was getting his ass kicked anyway, but he just wasn't, the same. And Travis Browne stops the fight. He's like, you know what, I don't know, maybe you guys, please comment and tell me what you guys think, because I thought he was talking about gloves. I thought his glove was out or his glove was in, because he kept going like this, and I was like, and then later on as the commentary went on, they were like, oh, it was a broken finger, which he was not supposed to stop the fight. The referee didn't stop the fight, but then Fabricio comes in, he hits him. So some people are thinking that, oh, he cheap shotted him, when in fact, it's the referee's job to stop him, is to stop the fight. But, he went in there and he knocked him, he beat him up, he broke his finger, round 2 starts, and it was a boring fight. It became really boring. He got really, I don't know, Fabricio got really tired. Browne, he duked it out, he tried to be like a real fighter, he tried to duke it out like a man. With a broken finger, guys, I'm telling you, it's you cannot, how can you not respect that? Somebody fighting with a broken fist or a broken foot. I mean, but you know what? I'm glad they stopped the fight. At the very end of the fight, I think Ronda Rousey's coach, which is also Travis Browne's coach, said something to Fabricio Verdum, and Fabricio Verdum literally like, pow, he kicked him, right? And it was all like pandemonium in the cage. Like everybody came in. It was almost going to be like a whole brawl fight. I'm sure he must have said something disrespectful to him, Because, I mean, he's really, you know, Travis Brown's coach, the boxing guy, or let's say Ronda Rousey's coach, he's really a nobody, honestly. You know, he's got this one fighter, Ronda Rousey, that he was banking on for a long, long time, and that's all he does is box. He's not a mixed martial arts coach, so he's a boxer. So, you know, guys like that, they should just keep their mouth shut, especially when the fight's over, especially when their fighter clearly lost. He must have said something that made Fabricio want to kick his ass, which made he literally kicked him. But yeah, guys, that was a good fight. It was a TKO. Fabricio, I think it's a TKO because no, it wasn't a TKO. It was actually it was a doctor's stoppage because they didn't let him continue. That's what it was. Yeah, and Fabricio won. Hats off to him. I think they're gonna have Miocic fight Fabricio Verdum. All right, guys, let's go to the main event. Stipe Miocic versus Alistair Overeem in Stipe Miocic's hometown, Cleveland, Ohio. My prediction for this fight was that Stipe was gonna KO Overeem. That was what I was thinking in the very beginning. Or, you know, it could have gone either way. Obviously, Overeem is a better kickboxer than Stipe. I don't care how the fight went, but the truth of the matter is, guys, Overeem can whoop Stipe's ass. He can whip his ass. And he almost did. In round one, he came and he fucking gave a straight punch he kicked Miocic in the beginning that weakened him up a little bit, and then Overeem gave this guy a punch, like straight punch, and Miocic went down straight. Like I thought he out. I thought he KO'd him for a second there. And then he was going for a guillotine. What he should have done was, instead of going for a guillotine, is go down and finish Miocic with a TKO. That's what he should have done. That was Overeem's mistake. I don't know why he went for a guillotine. I think, personally, being a superior kickboxer, he should have done it. But Miocic, because he's the champion, and he's a good boxer, he came up, and the fight continued, and he connected well. They both connected. And I think at some point in the fight, I can't remember if I look at my notes, at some point it was at round 1 or round 2, I believe, I can't even remember. I believe it was probably round 1, yeah. At some point in the fight, Stipe, took him down. It was more like a slip. Overeem did the side kick, and he lost his balance because Miocic caught him. And that was the beginning of the end for him. And that was it. Miocic had a much better ground control, and that was it. He just TKO'd him, and you could see Overeem's face bounce back. So Stipe won by TKO, clearly. At the end, when they had the fighters' post-fight interview, Overeem said something that was, and you can't blame him because he obviously was unconscious. He woke up, and he started saying that, I think he tapped. Like when I got Miocic in that guillotine, he tapped. So Joe Rogan, they ain't bullshitting in the UFC. They repeated that 2 or 3 times to see, hey, where did he tap? And no, there was no tap. So it's okay. He was a little disoriented when he was talking. I feel clearly that Overeem could have won this fight. He did something very stupid. Overeem did something. He was running away, like literally. I mean, he was running away from one corner of the octagon to one corner of the octagon. I've never seen somebody run like that. That was, especially a guy like Overeem. I mean, you expect that from somebody like Stipe. But Overeem, running away the way he did, it was very odd. Again, guys, comment, because was that normal? Because I didn't find that normal. I found that very odd for somebody who's such a dominant striker in kickboxing and in MMA. And a champion, like Overeem, to run away like that. And guys, give me your feedback. Do you think Stipe got lucky? Do you think Stipe got lucky? You guys, be honest with me. Please comment and tell me. Because I feel Stipe got a little lucky. I honestly feel that Overeem would have whooped his ass. Overeem actually he did. He almost won if he had been a little bit smarter. But guys, tell me what you think. Alright, so guys, this is the UFC 203 review. I mean, Stipe Miocic won. Congratulations to him. He retained his title. I wonder, probably they're going to put, I'm thinking, Verdum next with him. That'd be interesting to see again. If you like this video, guys, please like, share, and subscribe. I'm very grateful for all the followers that I have. I'm very grateful to have new followers as well. I love your comments, so please, guys, keep doing that. It's it's awesome to exchange information and stuff like that. Please subscribe to my channel. I have a lot of different things. I got my movies, my songs, my martial art videos. I'm going to be uploading them soon too. And stay tuned for more content that's about to come up. My songs are on it. And I can't wait. 204, I don't know how that's going to be. But, we'll talk about that when it comes. For now, guys, thank you so much. Basil the White Dragon Masters, out.